It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day and welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. I'm Brad Miller, and we're very happy to welcome as one of our first guests of the new year, Michelle Burchill. Michelle is the county recorder for Yavapai County. 2020, well, every year is an election year, but 2024, certainly a big one with national elections coming up in November. But there's a lot of things to talk about well ahead of November, including right now as Arizona prepares for the presidential preference election. So we'll say good morning to Michelle Burchill, Yavapai County Recorder.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I'll share with our audience, you and I chatted briefly for a moment, that I think we'll probably have you on as a guest any number of times between now and November. Elections are much more exciting these days than they kind of seem to used to be. And especially with the presidential election coming up in November, a lot of folks have a lot of concerns. And you're going to talk about that as we do a kind of a series of programs throughout the year, perhaps others from your office and the county, so that people understand and are well informed when they head to the polls in whichever election that might be. But let's start the presidential preference. First, let me just kind of ask you, I think from what it's called, I can understand it, but what is the PPE?
Yes, the PPE, the presidential preference election, is a unique election. This one does not come up as often, so people forget a lot of the rules and how this specific election works. So this is pretty much the presidential primary election, but it's not an actual open primary election in the way that Arizona normally votes. So this year, we will have the PPE in March, and then we will have our normal traditional primary election coming in August. So the presidential preference election this year is specifically a party election, a partisan election, where the political parties who opt to participate will hold an election. So this March 19th, the only two political parties in Arizona who are opting to participate are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. What that means is only the Democratic and Republican affiliated voters are going to be able to vote in this specific election.
You'll need to have
what's considered closed. So it's closed to other voters.
Your registration will indicate which of those two parties, and then you can vote if you're independent, Green Party, Libertarian.
No, that is correct. So if a voter who is unaffiliated or is considered an independent, a libertarian, we just got recognized in the state for the Green Party, no labels, any of those other parties besides the two who are participating. If your voter registration is affiliated with any other political party or no party, you would actually have to re-register to vote to pretty much pick which party you want to vote with. We see a lot of that for this specific type of election where you will change your party affiliation in order to participate. And then after the election closes, you can change your party affiliation back. I would highly recommend, especially this year, any Arizona voter, check your voter registration. Confirm for yourself what your party affiliation is, if anything has changed potentially on your record. And you can do that at my.arizona.vote. And you can put your personal information in, and you'll be able to see and verify you're registered with a proper party that you want to be registered with, and check your mailing address, check your residential address. We want to make sure that everything is up to date. And if it isn't, if there is something you want to change or you would like to change specifically for this election, you can go to servicearizona.com and update your voter registration through the MVD website, or you can go online, shoot us an email, give us a phone call. But we want to make sure that everybody does their own due diligence to make sure that your registration is up to date.
Now, how or why might my registration have been changed in some way? I mean, if I moved a location, that one I can kind of see. But other than if I had changed it myself, how or why might it have changed, or am I looking at it the wrong way?
Well, a lot of times people forget that they've made a change, or may have forgotten since the last election that, they made an update to their records. We have a lot of people that will call and say, I'm an independent. Why am I getting a partisan ballot?
Okay.
And then we look back and we can actually confirm, wait, you actually did fill out a new registration card. We received it on this date. So a lot of times people may not remember that they chose to update their information, but also over the last year and a half, we've heard a lot of information when it comes to people registering their vehicles or making some sort of a change through the motor vehicle department and not opting out or forgetting that that potentially updates their voter registration record also.
Right.
So I would just rather people be safe than sorry and double check their information.
Yeah, it's just a good idea just on the face of it. I want to talk a little more about registration specifically as we move along, but let me bounce back a tiny bit. The presidential preference election coming up on March 19th sounds just the same to me as a primary, but it's slightly different. Why do we do both? What's the significance of the PPE if we're going to do a primary anyway?
So the PPE is only for the presidential candidates. So normally in a normal primary election, you're going to see all the candidates that are trying to make their way to that November ballot.
Okay.
So let's say, such as myself being the county recorder, I will actually be on a primary election ballot this year in August, but I am actually trying to get to the November ballot. So the difference with this election with the PPE is this is only presidential candidates. So only the qualified candidates who have registered with the Secretary of State's office will be on that ballot in March. And what happens is this is a chance for the partisan races, these partisan candidates, to be on this ballot, and the winners of this ballot are going to be taken from our state parties to their conventions over the summer to see who actually becomes the state party, the national party nominee for November.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So this is a little unique to everything else because it's only for those partisan candidates running for president.
Okay. So there you go. And that's kind of what I was kind of feeling, that this maybe isn't as significant for the electorate as it is for the party leaders, and it could have implications for their funding, their campaign style, and different things like that. It's valuable information for the parties and the candidates.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do this. We do need to take just a short break. I want to talk a little bit more about this, and if we can share some of the important deadlines that we'll be talking about. Michelle, you did a good job talking about some of those already, but we'll continue with our discussion. The Yavapai County Recorder is Michelle Burchill. She is our guest on Countywide today. We'll pause for a moment, and we'll be back right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley. And your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology, factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verdi Solar offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdisolar.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Hi, this is Lewis Rice with Rice Accounting, Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, with a very sincere thank you for your continued business over the last 20 years. All of us at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service are very honored for the many community awards we've been given over the years. As always, we are open year-round, providing services for taxes, payroll, and bookkeeping. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona, can help you with all your tax and accounting needs. For our nearest location, call 800-234-1040.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We welcome you back to the program. It is Countywide. I'm Brad Miller, and again, Michelle Burchill is the Yavapai County Recorder, and it is a big election year in 2024, and Michelle and her office already very, very active in making sure people understand what is happening, when it's happening, and those deadlines are going to be very, very important. On this program, the first, I hope, of quite a few, with Michelle and her office prior to November. The presidential preference election comes up March 19th, and the deadline to register to vote in this is right around the corner, isn't it? It's coming up, February?
That's correct. The deadline to register to vote or re-register to actually participate is February 20th. So you have until that time to hop on Service Arizona, come into our offices, whatever you need to do to get your voter registration updated, please do so by that date. That will be the official cutoff.
And if I miss it, I'm out of luck for this election. I could still catch up in time for the primary or the general.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And then the first day of early voting for this March election is going to be on February 21st. So that is the day that anyone who is on the active early voter list, or the ABLE, will be mailed a ballot. And again, these are only Republican and Democrat voters at that point. And we will have 3 early voting sites available for that period up until Election Day. And again, Election Day will be the 19th, and we will have 27 vote centers located throughout Yavapai County. If you want information on the early voting sites and or the Election Day voting sites, please visit yavapaivotes.gov. That is our updated website where you can get all of that information, and you can also get the results on that page, and you can actually watch us tabulating those results throughout this election cycle. We have a live feed that shows right into our tabulation room on Fair Street, so you can actually watch us in there doing the work. The Yavapai County Board of Supervisors this last year gave us a remodel request, or they approved it for us, and we are hoping to get back in about a week and a half with a whole new layout of how we are doing things on that floor. So if you're ever in the area, come by 1015 Fair Street and you can see for yourself what we're doing, and everything that has to do with us processing a ballot is right there with nice big windows, a big observation area. Come and talk to us, see what we're doing, vet us, ask us questions, see for yourself how the election process is done here in Yavapai. That's what we're going to be about this year, is all about transparency and letting our voters know what we're doing.
It sounds like, wild. Yeah, I don't have to be far from the point here to imagine that these kinds of measures that you just described were driven by some of the unhappiness that some voters had after 2020.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the thing here in Yavapai, we have the highest voter turnout in the state for pretty much every election. We have very, very engaged voters. We have voters who want to understand the process, want to know the process, and they want to trust the process. And when I was appointed last year, my very first day, I said, hey, what else can we do to give our voters the tools to understand and see what we do? Because I came into this honestly very skeptical about the voting, how voting was. I didn't understand the processes. I heard a lot of things that I thought I knew. And when I came in, it was very eye-opening and enlightening to see all of the audit processes and all of the different chains of custody that we have. And it really helped me to understand and be able to identify when I'm hearing something on the radio or seeing something on social media. I can say, wait, that's not right. I've seen it for myself. That's not what Yavapai does. And I want that for my voters and my community.
So it sounds, let me understand, you're satisfied that the election in Yavapai County specifically in 2020 was fair and just, but you chose to, going forward, make it more apparent to the public that
Absolutely.
that they could see what you saw after, even, it sounds like even you took a little bit of a skeptical eye into that review.
I absolutely did.
Okay.
And it's been such a great experience for me. And now I'm everything elections, right? I never really paid too much attention to it before until I started, kind of being a little more concerned about it. And I live and breathe it. I'm passionate about it. My voters are passionate about it. And walking in and, seeing the process from the ins and outs, from the beginning to the end, has been a really gratifying experience for me. And coming in with new eyes, I've added some things to the process to make them just that much more tight and that much more transparent. And I will continue to do that and get that feedback from the voters. We want to know, what was your voter experience on election day? How was your voter experience coming, to Fair Street? And even the observers, the party observers that come in afterwards, we have those meetings with the political parties and with those people in the community and with our poll workers. And we want that feedback to say, hey, we did this great, or we didn't do this so great. What can we do to make it better next time? And we will learn from those opportunities and from those people within the election community and the voters.
I think the voters are going to appreciate that. Let me bounce back to one other thing that you mentioned, and you used an acronym for what was active early voting
list.
List. Okay. AVIL. Okay. There you go. Okay. That one, similarly, we talked about registration, and that can change, especially a great example would be if you've moved to a new address. Can your status as an early ballot recipient change similarly, and can I check that, or will the registration check do that for me?
When you actually check your voter registration on my.arizona.vote, and that's with Arizona spelled out, you will it will tell you if you are on the active early voter list or not.
Okay.
And when you update your voter registration, you will be asked that question. Do you want to be a vote by mail or receive a ballot by mail for every election? And here in Arizona, there are options for everyone. So if you want to vote by mail, great. If you want to vote in person, great. If you want to vote on election day, great. If you want to vote early, that's okay too. Arizona has given our voters every opportunity and plenty of different ways to actually voice their opinion and have that vote. So there's no excuse, people. Make sure that you get your information updated with us, check it, verify it, and get out there to the polls this year. We want to keep Yavapai at the top of the list when it comes to voter turnout.
Isn't early and/or mail-in balloting a big part of the reason why Yavapai County has historic turnout?
Yavapai County overwhelmingly chooses to vote early. Absolutely. The 2022 election cycle, we saw a lot of change in the messaging, and we saw a lot of candidates even telling people, wait till election day, don't vote early. But here in Yavapai, that really didn't impact the way our voters vote here. We still had an 82% of the 124,871 voters actually that voted early. So Yavapai County has overwhelmingly chose to vote that route in one way or the other for a long time now.
Wow. Okay. We need to take the second of our two breaks, and when we come back, Michelle, you shared with us some websites and some other information like that. I'd like to repeat that when we come back in a moment so that our listeners can go and be fresh and take that information with them, make sure they've got that record or that registration done correctly, the mail-in balloting to request one if they've not already. So we'll come back with Michelle Burchill, Yavapai County Recorder on Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology, factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Hi, this is Lewis Rice with Rice Accounting Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, with a very sincere thank you for your continued business over the last 20 years. All of us at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service are very honored for the many community awards we've been given over the years. As always, we are open year-round, providing services for taxes, payroll, and bookkeeping. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona, can help you with all your tax and accounting needs. For our nearest location, call 800-234-1040.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
And again, we welcome you back to the program. It is countywide early in this year, the first in what I hope to be a very strong, positive, and informative series with the Yavapai County Recorder's Office. And today the recorder herself, Michelle Burchill, is on the program talking about the upcoming PPE, the Presidential Preference Election, and more broadly, getting us all prepared for the election year that is 2024. Knowledge is power, and if we get it straight from, if you'll pardon, Michelle, the horse's mouth, we can know our votes are safe and secure and accurate and fair, and nobody else could want anything better than that. There's some websites you've mentioned throughout our program. If I could get you to kind of repeat some of those so that the voters know where to go to check their status for registration, for early balloting. Can you do that?
Absolutely. So again, highly recommend every voter confirm their registration. Make sure your information is up to date. You can do that at my.arizona, spelled out, .vote. my.arizona.vote. Confirm your registration. If you want to update or change your registration, or change your party or update your address, you can do that at servicearizona.com. And if you just want more information about Yavapai voting, go to our website, yavapaivotes.gov. You can get information on drop boxes, early voting locations, the vote center locations. Watch us online. Watch us tabulate your votes. And one big thing that we are really going to try to help voters understand this year is you can actually help us to make sure our voter rolls are up to date. Our voter rolls are as clean and accurate as possible. If you receive a ballot for someone who no longer lives in your household, send the ballot back. There's actually a little check mark box right on the front of it that says this person no longer lives at this address. If you receive any other election mail for someone that does not live at your address, send it back to the post office, because we can start the process of making that person inactive if they're no longer living at your address or even living in the county.
Okay.
A lot of voters move and they don't tell us,
Sure.
and they assume when they re-register that it updates our records, and it's not exactly how it looks. So we are
Gotcha.
going to really depend on voters to help us this year.
Terrific. All right, Michelle, we so appreciate it. And again, we'll chat with you, I know, many more times between now and November, and get the information out there so that voters understand what is happening and feel secure that their vote counts in the way that they want it to. Michelle Burchill, Yavapai County Recorder. I'm Brad Miller. It's Countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.